Hey, sorry for the delay on your video here, but let's do it. Alright, starting with how to hold the guitar. I've attached a separate video called How to Hold the Guitar, but if you didn't take a look at that, short version is we've got our indentation here. We're going to put it on our leg about an inch away from our body and lean it slightly back on ourselves. We want the fretboard to chill up here, not down there. We're mostly steadying that by throwing our arm around the guitar. Where we get the crook of our arm here, we can comfortably do this. We can't quite see, we can peek over to see. So that's right arm. And left arm wise, we want to have our arm like dead in our lap, and then keep our elbow in that position, keeping in mind that your elbow moving off your body. You know, a ping pong ball is okay. And find this position where your thumb is flush against the fretboard and gets you more out in front. Versus what would happen if your thumb was too far over and your hand kind of disappears. Or if you angled the fretboard this way, you might have this thumb off to the side inclination type thing. So yeah, that's how we hold it, and we should have an ergonomic at-rest position where you might have to hunch over a little bit, but otherwise we're good. Cool. So it turns out that the song you wanted to play is really easy. I'm going to advocate two different right-hand approaches. Let's just talk about how we hold our right hand. Let's just start with our thumb parallel to, the fourth string. This is the first string, this is the sixth string. So let's just chill out and get in a position where my thumb's parallel to the fourth string. Then I've got my fingers coming in 1, 2, 3 like that, and they're curled up, each assigned to a string, versus what people intuitively do, which is kind of fan their fingers out so they can see them. We want to be in a position where you could very clearly move your thumb and forefinger, at the same time or past each other. Also, as a classical guitarist, you're going to rest your pinky here. Not in a position that pulls you down into an uncomfortable position, but just for a little extra steadiness. And in the long run, we'll decide what our position is on that, whether you're going to do it 100% of the time or some of your other not exactly classical interests have you wanting to do something percussive. Cool. So we're going to do our, and you know the sequence better than I could pull it up, but we're going high note, low note, low note. So if we were going to play bass notes too with our thumb, we'd be using these three fingers going. Just want to emphasize that when you move down to the third fret, I believe it was, you want to let your entire arm move, including your thumb. It can be tempting to kind of solve it for like a wiggle waggle, but yeah, your thumb's going to be parallel to these two fingers, whichever juxtaposition we're in with our left hand. So here, let me just pull that up real quick and give it a listen. It goes. Alright, so, and the first time we'll do that with these three fingers, which I just didn't do. And so that was us. We went from here, B, to here, A, to here, G, to here, G flat, and then open. So for the sake of simplifying it, we'll just go high, lower, lower. Cool. And this is, again, really advantageous that it turns out this is just open strings while playing a melody on one string. But much like violin, this isn't indicative of a larger pattern in guitar of jumping all around the fretboard. If we were just going, we would do it positionally, not. Well, we're doing this thing with open strings. Cool. So that's these three fingers. Please stop and get good at that. And you could definitely just go and just be doing the right hand with open strings. Just revisiting our plan to break everything into small sections and finish as we go. So better to get good at and then not even have approached the other left hand changes than get average at the whole thing while looking at the page with big pauses. So wherever you find yourself making natural subdivisions, do that pause there, and that's just during our memorization stage. We're going over, when I play this, I'm going to do the following thing. Versus when we actually switch to our playing headspace, which is more now we've switched from learning the dance steps to dancing analogy. It's a feel thing. Cool, so second approach to that is going to be to use our thumb and these two fingers. This will be one for a situation where we knew we weren't going to play a low note on the bass strings, where we were just... And I think that's how most people would approach this piece of music so far if it ended here, because it's a little easier to use these three fingers. If you started with these three, that might seem more intuitive, but they're both actually going to happen in songs. So now these three fingers, ring finger doing nothing, pinky still in the same at rest position. You can jump around the string some more, just kind of find good ones. The 8th fret would sound good, the 10th fret would sound good. We've got 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. And I believe that's the entirety of what we did for notes and so forth. I probably gave you a couple first position chords like E minor and A minor and C, or maybe you knew a couple of them. There we mostly were talking about if we were going to strum the wider range of motion that we would use to get a nice, I'm hitting all the strings. But primarily we did that, and then this version of the C major scale here in first position, where there's this chord C that we can play to get our bearings, and then like that. A good approach, you could just alternate fingers, or you could go thumb, 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 first finger, second finger, or thumb, index, 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 middle, middle, ring, ring. I mean, over here, you could assign one to each string. That's the most linear approach. But if you needed to play faster, then you would need to be alternating back and forth, hitting the same string with two different fingers. So we could also just go thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index. Just alternating those two fingers, which again we want in this juxtaposition, not this juxtaposition. Cool, so hopefully we can dig into more of this song, and even if we can't do it note for note, there's a couple more difficult grips than we want. We could probably find an easy guitar version and keep cruising through it. Have a wonderful couple weeks of practice. Definitely you could also just like look up open chords or first position chords, like, E and E minor and A and G and all the first chords we all learned. Just while we're at it, our thumb often makes contact with the 6th string, muting it. When I'm playing a chord like D, where it sounds fine until I accidentally put the 6th string in, or C, I'm actually muting the bass string, which just requires making any contact with it whatsoever. So that's the stuff we're working on. Take a section by section approach and do not look at the page. As soon as you actually have the sequence memorized, then, especially with this Spanish romance song, it might be really tempting to look at the page, but just realize we're not reading music here. Just that's a memorization tool, says these things happen. You want to look at your hands as much as possible, since that's actually what you're going to be thinking about. It's just either 7th fret, 5th fret, this finger, that finger. And when you switch to another song, that will still be the case versus 7th fret, etc. We'll just keep learning more note names as we go. I will see you on the 29th at our next scheduled lesson. That is on my calendar as well as yours, or we may even have discussed touching base after the holidays. Either way, on my calendar, if not featured in this video, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.